And we're live.
Welcome to Screencast, everyone. I'm your host, Nick Scarpino, joined by the movie bros herself, Joey Noel. And, of course, Kevin, the big dog, Coelho.
Oh. You know I'm the other movie bro, right?
No, Joey's the movie bros. It's like Super Mario Bros, where there's only really just one. Luigi's just kind of like holding up Mario's coffee in the background. Really, let's be perfectly honest, ladies and gentlemen.
Kevin, can you come hold up my coffee? That would
Yes,
be great.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Go ahead. If I reach down, go higher.
Perfect.
There it is. Perfect, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this is Screencast, where we talk about all of the entertainment news and what we've been watching and pretty much anything related to films here. Some fun topics we have or some stories we have coming up today. Well, not fun. AMC might go bankrupt and Tom Cruise might go to space. But
all right.
before we get to that, we do want to give a shout out to our Patreon producers, Mohammed, Blackjack, Al Trausen, and Connor Nolan. And I just realized it's a brand new month, Joey. So that's probably different. That's probably different right now. Could you pull those and throw those in Slack for me, and I will tell those. Are they in Slack? Hold on.
Just do it, Joey. He doesn't know.
Joey's going to do that real quick as I do some housekeeping. If you guys want to go over to kindafunny.com/store and check out our new stuff. We got lots of stuff, just like James Franco said in Spring Breakers. Look at all my stuff. I got lots of stuff, like the PS I Love You shirt and the Super Porty shirt, and the it's Pride Month, so we're bringing back our amazing KF Pride shirt that I should have worn today. I forgot. Maybe I'll wear that on Lord of the Rings later when we film that. But of course, you can go over and get that. It's a great design, great fitting shirt, and it goes toward a great cause, of course. And this show is brought to you by our sponsor, MeUndies, but we will get to that later. Shout out to our Patreon producers. Open the there it is. So this doc always confuses me. There it is. I didn't nail it. Come on, son.
I'm so proud of you, Nick.
I'm on point. How you guys been doing? You guys been watching lots of fun stuff? We'll get to that later. I just want to talk to you for a little bit. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, Joe.
I know. It's because we didn't do Screencast last week because of kind of Funhouse week. We just didn't have. We haven't had any time to catch up. I don't know what's going on in your lives. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I left the house yesterday, so that was fun.
That's exciting.
I went for a little bit of a walk to get some Mexican food, and then came right back.
Where'd you get Mexican food from?
A place called Taco, I believe is what it's called. TACKO.
I know it well.
Yeah. Very, very good. Beyond that, really enjoyed last week's Funhouse week. I think we should do that again.
I agree.
I don't know if that was a thing is that like a thing Rooster Teeth is organizing for us, or is this Funhouse just super cool?
Yeah.
Elise just made it work. God,
yeah, Elise and Tim.
Yeah.
I think Andy was talking with Elise like a few weeks ago, months ago, or whatever, about kind of putting all of this together, and then she made it all happen. What a powerhouse!
It was great. She did a good job. Some notable highlights from last week. KFAF was one of my favorite shows we've done in a very, very long time. And then, so you guys can check that out. Me, James, Andy, and Elise photoshopped the perfect. And I say perfect Hollywood celebrity because, of course, as you know, movie theaters and the movie industry in general has not come back yet, and they're going to be suffering, and they're going to need an ultra celebrity to bring them back. And Tom Cruise, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, you just don't cut the mustard. You're not going to do it. We need a super celeb to come back. So go over and watch that episode. And then, of course, later today, Elise has agreed to join us for all 6 parts of the the Lord of the Rings in review that we're doing. And we might ask yourself, Nick, don't be an idiot. There's only 3 movies unless you're doing those abominations that are Hobbit movies.
And we're not.
And the answer is, no, we are not doing those. Over my dead corpse of a body that's been bloated and rotting, and my wife never noticed because maybe I've just annoyed the shit out of her over the last 2 weeks, and she doesn't want to pay attention to me anymore. No, what we're doing, of course, is we are breaking up the extended editions of The Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King into 2 parts, which actually is really, really nice because then as a person, I have to do the synopsis for them so I can actually relax and enjoy them and not worry about missing stuff and go back and actually type the words correctly so that Kevin doesn't make fun of me when I say mithril. And he's like, no, it's mithril.
Come on, Nick.
Come on, son. Don't be an idiot. Of course, that's on Fridays, I believe that'll be launching. And that is all. Let's get into some news. How does that sound?
Oh, I love that.
Great.
Kevin, give me the news song.
Well, I don't think I've ever done that.
Because that's
Is
a
that a
Barrett
Barrett?
thing,
That's a
right?
Barrett thing. You want me to call Barrett in?
Is Barrett in your house right now?
No, we're connected to the internet.
Oh, sure. Give him a call. See if we can pop in. See if we can pop Barrett in.
Let me-
No, don't do it. It'll be annoying if it doesn't answer because we can't figure out. We know how to call people on Discord. We can't figure out how to hang up on them on Discord. So that's no fun.
Oh, I figured all that out.
Did you figure it all out?
Yeah, but now
Give him a-
Discord is just missing. That's really
Cool.
funny. This keeps happening where like I'll use the pop out screen right now, and then the actual screen where you can control everything just disappears, and it's like, oh well, I guess I can't call him.
It's okay. My shot is getting more and more brown as the day goes on. It
looks
started off
good, though.
properly white balanced, so now I just look like I've been out in the sun for the last 15 days while everyone else has been working. Is
Nick,
that true? I don't know.
We're all having problems. Look at my screen. I'm out of focus, but like the pink guy over here is perfectly in focus.
Yeah, your peak
Yeah,
is
because
very in focus.
That's what everybody wants to see, Kevin.
Joey's shot
Yeah.
looks great.
Yeah,
especially
Joey's shot
with
looks great.
Yeah.
I switched my desk. I moved it around, so now it's just in the middle of my room.
I like
But I
it.
get
now it's
a
not.
lot of the natural light from my sliding glass door.
That is nice. It looks fantastic. It's
Yeah.
a nice
Thank
diffused
you.
light. It looks really good. It's way better than the other shot where the light was behind you and you were
I
just this
know.
ghostly silhouette. Like
But that was so much better for my living space.
That's
but
true.
You make
don't
those
get me wrong.
sacrifices,
If you
know?
saw how this little room that I'm in, this little weird closet that's built into my apartment that I assume people used as storage and or for dishes back in the day when they used to throw their weird parties. I have my
What
desk
weird
probably about
parties?
4. I don't know, man. I don't know what they would have used this room for.
It's
I
a
assume it
dope
was like
closet. I actually really like it. It's like a proper like you walk in, you would have a coat hanger at some point. You put your
Yeah,
coat
this-
hanger and your hat on it.
Yeah, there's still the little hooks for the the wood pole that you can hang things off of.
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
still those hooks, and if I still had that, I'd probably hang a light off of it. But instead, I'm just hanging it off of a random shelf. Anyway, long story short, my desk is approximately 3 feet from the wall, maybe no 2 feet from the wall, and it's because I have a camera sandwiched back there. But also, there's all sorts of stuff going on. It's a weird world we're living in, ladies and gentlemen. But those are easy problems to overcome.
Mm.
Do you know what's not easy to overcome, Joey?
What?
Bankruptcy.
Oh.
That's
Segue? You
That's
see
a
how
really
I
sad
see
segue.
what you did
jammed
with
that
that one.
segue in there? This story comes from GameSpot. Obviously, AMC and Cinemark, the two big theater chains that we're reporting on for right now, have been having a lot of financial issues, largely due to the fact that they can't open their doors yet. Wednesday morning, Variety reported that AMC is once again worried about bankruptcy. Quote, "We believe we have the cash resources to reopen our theaters and resume our operations this summer or later," AMC wrote as part of an SEC filing, before noting that the chain, quote, "has never previously experienced the complete cessation of our operations." It also warned that due to the possibility of additional closures or lower than expected demand, quote, "substantial doubt exists about our ability to continue as a going concern for a reasonable period of time." I don't know who wrote that statement, but they should be fired, and you should get a PR person in that speaks a little more clearly.
I feel like that's their best way of saying like, hey, even if we reopen, people might not be interested in coming to movie theaters, and we're really scared.
Yeah, at which point
Without saying that.
it might suck. That's very true. Of course, in April, AMC raised a similar alarm, but managed to secure $500 million to see them through to July. I'm going to say this right now, guys. I'll throw this out there. Sorry, there's one more note on this before I get on a rant. Man, whatever. Cinemark said similar things, but they have a plan to potentially open as more of an airline, where they're going to be like socially distancing people and all that stuff. But I'll say this:
I thought that
if it's the government can only bail out one organization, airlines or cinemas. Which one should they bail out?
Well, here's the thing. If they bail out planes and stuff, then the world keeps running as it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't, perhaps planes have to restructure and rebuild, because we still need to travel, you know? There's going to be a need for it.
Do
So
we need
maybe
travel?
they
'Cause
can...
I haven't left my house in 5 days, and I
Yeah,
feel
but you
just
want
right.
to. You want to so badly. You
I
keep
know, I wanna
talking
get
about
the hell
wanting
outta
to
here.
go to Greece with me.
It's true.
Wait,
We're gonna go to Greece. We're gonna go to Mykonos.
Whoa. Why are we
Mykonos.
planning this without me?
Because
What?
Kevin and I are gonna go to Mykonos. We're gonna pretend like we're brothers, and we're gonna see who
Greece,
notices.
Japan, and Australia are like my top 3 places I want to go.
Oh, that's so
I-
never-
cool.
Have you never been to Japan?
No.
Oh, it's
You were supposed to
pretty
take us,
cool,
remember?
yeah. You should have gone
Yeah.
before the government decided to bail out all the cinemas instead of the airlines. I'll say this though. Obviously, I'm being facetious. Of course, we need airlines. But if they were to bail out cinemas, that means we could see Tenet next month. So just throwing that out there.
I mean, that is true. I mean, here's the thing. I feel like in this weird situation where we have to pick between these two bailouts, ultimately, the movie theater would be more beneficial to our day-to-day lives. We all go to the movies all the time. We see it all the time. But not being able to fly anywhere would be a big inconvenience every once in a while.
But again, the planes need to exist, so like we'd figure something out. You know what I mean? Like that's movie theaters don't need to exist, and if they don't get saved, they might just die forever.
Oh, they'll die forever. Yeah.
Or,
you know what's funny is they'll. What's up, Joe?
But if they don't bail out the airline industry, then do we just all start flying private? And that seems like a better
You see what I'm saying?
experience.
I would love
Like
that.
those little what is it, X-Jet or something like that does
like a Gulf Stream, like what The Rock takes, where he puts his elliptical machine on it too, and he works out on the plane. And the pilot's like, "This is one day is going to be this is going to Aaliyah all of us. We're all just going to go down because of this thing."
Why do you have to make her an adjective or a verb like that?
Because everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's going to be so weird. I don't think they're going to go. I'm hoping that everything can slowly start to reopen, and that the once the resurgence happens in winter, maybe they can close down for a month or two if they have to, and then come back. I don't want to see theaters die. Having said that, I don't really give a shit. I'm not clamoring to go sit in a movie theater right now, but
you have been multiple times in the last like 2 weeks.
Mostly because it's hot, and I want AC and a giant Diet Coke, and I want to watch the Nolan film. But if the Nolan film came here and my house miraculously got central heating and air conditioning, then I'd be pretty okay. I'm wearing so many shorts right now.
Why don't you just get an AC unit for your house?
It doesn't get that bad. It's just like a little bit of sweat down my back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sweat rolls
no,
down
I got
my
a
crack.
lot of that going on right now.
Yeah.
A lot.
Plus,
yeah, I mean, I just love the movie theater experience, and like specifically AMC, like, because of A-List. A-List is what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Or Stubbs. What was it? Stubbs or A-List? Yeah.
Stubbs is the non
rewards program.
Yeah. So because of A-List, like I've only been watching movies pretty much exclusively in Dolby, and it's awesome. They're like absurdly. I want to say they're like $22 a ticket, which is like the cost of the A-List for a month. So if you go to watch one Dolby movie a month, it was like, oh, it's paying for itself.
Yeah.
But, like I'll never have that experience at home, just because, like, even if you've got a giant projector at your house, it's not as good as the Dolby ones with the like high contrast, and like the audio system. Even if you have the Dolby audio system, it's not as good as the like exaggerated Dolby audio system that they have with like 17 speakers or whatever. So it's just one of those things that like
it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it is pretty good. You're right. Like it can get pretty close. That thing that happens when we go to the movies and we all walk out together and we spend the next like hour at like a little restaurant talking about how much we like the movie, what were the like pros and cons of it, like what made it a great movie versus what made it a mediocre movie. And
of course, don't get me wrong. I like the theater experience too. I mean, I'm very nostalgic for it. Obviously, it's one of my favorite experiences. But I find myself doing it less and less, just because specifically in San Francisco, it's more and more of a pain in the ass to get in there. You do have there's a dirt factor to it. There's a homeless person factor to it.
There's a homeless factor to it.
And slowly but surely, specifically, like if I lived in the suburbs, it would be great. Still, I would go probably once a weekend. But it's all these little deterrents that keep me from being like the number one thing I want to do on the weekends, because that used to be it when I was like in my early 20s and first moved up here. I love going to the movies. It was let's go to a bar on Friday night and then a movie and then another bar. That was my weekend right there. And it was like hungover, and guess what? Popcorn, great for sopping up alcohol. Super good for that. But yeah, as I get older, it's just more and more of an inconvenience. And it's, if you don't have something like A-List, it can be very expensive. It's kind of annoying, but like that's part of my heart's going to die if they die as well.
Someone in the chat, MT Mojo 87 was saying that like, oh well, it's fine, the big chains go away and someone will buy it and like start a smaller theater there. And it's like, yeah, but then we lose the A-List, and it's just one of those things that like me and Joster, like at one point we were going to the movies and watching like 3 or 4 movies a week.
Yeah,
and like That was really
Yeah.
cool. I was really enjoying that, and it sucks.
The other
that
issue you're
it's
going to see is, I mean, it's not like I don't have a lot of data to back this up, but one of my worries with that, and I agree with you. I think there, you'll have all this infrastructure that people can come in and start their own little boutique theater chains. But the issue I have with that is that they tried that in major markets like San Francisco. We used to have a chain called Kabuki that used to be run actually very well. It was like a boutique place you could drink inside. They had a bar and a restaurant.
Really good.
It was really, really fun. And then slowly but surely, all those proved completely untenable. They fired all their staff, and then they sold to AMC. And at one point, I shit you not, I walked up to give someone my online ticket, and there was just a scanner that was pointed down. And I looked around and I just kind of scanned my phone. I'm like, I guess I'll go in. There's no human beings here. No one works here anymore. It's just me, the homeless people, and an occasional mouse that runs by and looks at me and goes, I don't want to be here either.
There's actually a best friend that works there. Because we go to the Kabuki a lot, yeah. The Kabuki did change when it got sold to AMC, but it stayed like in the sense that it played smaller movies that you couldn't see at other places, even once it got incorporated to AMC.
And who knows, maybe we get, I know, Kevin, this is a trigger subject for you, but for the rest of us, that like a different experience, maybe we get something closer to an Alamo Draft House where it is more like a party in the theater and everyone's drinking and having fun, but without the light. We won't have the little lights.
Okay, so that's why I want to explain. The only reason I don't like the Alamo, well, actually I have several reasons. One, there's a light in the middle of the two chairs that shines that is really hard to cover. I do every time. It bothers me. It's just something that it
draws your eye.
It draws my eye.
I get it.
Two, the food, with the exception of the milkshakes and popcorn, is not great.
Not good.
Yeah.
The last time I had the wings there, they were good. They upped their wings. Yeah.
They have really good salads, which is a weird thing to eat in the middle of a movie theater.
A salad?
But they're really good. Their Cobb salad is so good.
It's also hard just in general to eat in the dark. I'm going to say that, especially if you're dipping anything, you're running the risk of having that. You walk out and you've got like Jackson Pollock trail all over your shirt of ketchup and ranch. A lot of times. These happen a lot to me as well. So,
and then the last thing I don't like about it is just like the seats are not. They're very, very old seats, and they're not comfortable in any way. Yeah,
that's why you got to bring your own. You have to bring your own duct tape and your own blankets. That's what you got to do.
I mean, you joke about it, but I've definitely brought gaff tape. Yeah,
I know.
Kevin also brought blankets to the movie.
Well, Paula gets cold.
But then you also have it when Paula's not there.
Well, at this point, it's in my car now, and I don't know if you've ever used a blanket at a fully reclinable movie theater seat. It's fucking amazing. I highly recommend it, everyone. You get a little snuggly, especially if they have milkshakes.
And then, of course, if you spill stuff on yourself, you have that added barrier of the blanket before it hits your shirt. And who cares if the blanket has some stains on it, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
No. God, why?
Oh, you brought whatever you brought.
No, you took it sexual, man.
I was saying the ranch gets on it. Next news story, ladies and gentlemen, and this gives me hope for all of humanity. As you know, well, first off, congrats to SpaceX for their successful launch last Saturday. Was it, Kev, that they did, where they actually docked with the ISS?
It was last Saturday when they were like, oh, we have to scrap it and move it till the next day. I don't remember the day, but
they did it.
It was successful. They made it to space. 19 hours.
It's the first launch we've done in a long time. And let me tell you, dude, watching that, here's the thing you learn, Kevin, when you watch actual space stuff. Not as fun as Michael Bay movies.
Oh, no. It's boring. A lot of waiting.
Kind of boring.
Sometimes it's too windy.
They docked in the space station. They're like, we're just waiting for the door to open. And like an hour and a half later, they're like, okay, we finally locked the door. Now we're waiting for them to turn the knob. And then like 3 hours later, they finally got in. And I was like, I'm done. I can't watch this anymore. I'm, of course, being facetious. But it's cool that they're doing that. And also it's cool that the ambassador for NASA is super down to clown, as they say, Joey, because NASA apparently is rolling out the International Space Station's red carpet for none other than Tom Cruise to make a movie in orbit. Now, as you know, of course, anyone who's followed Screencast, we have been in love with Tom Cruise, specifically with the fact that he is a certified part of the Stuntman's Guild. He learns how to do things like pilot a helicopter just so that he can add to the realism of the Mission Impossible franchise.
But he learns to pilot a helicopter to the stunt level.
To stunt level. Not like because I would be like, I know how to pilot a helicopter, and then all I know is like I had to hover it an inch off the ground and then land it. No, he can actually go through like ravines and shit and underneath high tension cables. It's pretty cool.
That featurette they did on Mission Impossible, the last one, doesn't matter. Fallout, yeah, where it's like a 10 maybe clip on him learning all these things, and they're just like, yeah, so for 2 weeks that's all he did, flew helicopters. It's like,
it's cool as ice.
Maybe it was like months, doesn't matter, but fucking cool.
I
now
think,
he might go to space.
And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, it's cooler than piloting a plane or doing a halo jump or piloting a helicopter, piloting a rocket. And Tom Cruise is going to do it. So NASA's rolling that out. Let's see, Jim Brenstein, who is the ambassador for NASA, said, quote, I will tell you this, NASA has been in talks with Tom Cruise and, of course, his team, and we will do everything we can to make it a successful mission, including opening up the International Space Station for him to film in.
So cool.
That would be insane. It would be insane. I don't know how you make that budget tenable for a movie, because it would arguably add probably $100 million to your budget to get up into space.
But is Tom Cruise crazy enough to just pay for it himself?
No.
It's possible that they could work something out. I mean, he'd have to get up there with a camera crew, and they'd have to, I don't know how they'd write that into the story.
Here's my question. Can he just befriend Elon Musk and somehow be like, come on, let me go on the next one?
Well, apparently Elon would chimed in on this one. Let's see. Let me read the rest of this article here. Asked about the cruise filming and the space station, Musk told CBS this morning, actually, I think that remains to be seen. We are supportive, and I think NASA is supportive of anything that captures the imagination of the public. So, of course, typical Elon Musk answer where you're like, what does any of that mean? But, for him, I think Elon's the kind of guy that's like, let's just do crazy stuff and inspire people, and it's cool to see people care about space to some degree again. Obviously, it's not the biggest topic on people's minds right now in our country or in the world with the pandemic and all the protests happening. But as a person that grew up in the 80s, man, space was cool. There was nothing cooler than space. It was like space, red race cars. Exactly. So I'm excited to see. It's cool to see. Like, if Tom Cruise can do this, who knows what he might inspire, the next generation of astronauts that also want to put on the cool Elon Musk space suits, the superhero suits, and get up there and just make a cool movie with their DSLRs. Man,
do you think kids still want to be astronauts? Like, is that still a thing?
No, they want to be YouTube stars.
Yeah, they want to be Twitch. No, they don't even want to be YouTube stars anymore.
Right.
Now they want to be Twitch streamers. They're like, I don't want to go through the trouble of having to review something. Let me just play Fortnite or Apex and do this, which everyone has to do, which is always my favorite thing they do, because they're like this. Hey, okay, I got that kill. I want to give a quick shout out to Cheddarnut in the chat. Coming to the stage next. Dutch Apple Pie is going to dance for us.
I feel like I spaced out for a small moment there, and
that switched gears real quick.
Yeah, I don't like. Is the guy playing Twitch and also running some sort of strip show?
I don't know. They always sound like that. Every time anyone gives a shout out to their subscribers, they use the strip club announcer voice, and I don't understand why they do that. And I get it, because I guess I do the same thing whenever I shout out Mohammed and all of our patriot Al the Predator tribesmen. But man, when Fran does it, it takes it to a level where I think this night's going to cost me $300, and I'm not going to get anything out of it, because that's every strip club night I've ever been to in my life. Final topic for today, and I want to open this up for discussion. HBO Max launched last week. We talked about it a little bit on Film House, and it's to me, I'm jokingly going to say it's a confusing service, given that there's two other HBO services. Of course, one of them will be going away by the end of the year. HBO Max will be taking over as the standalone service if you want to just subscribe to that. Of course, if you have HBO, I believe you can still get HBO Go, which means you can stream and watch on the road if you're away from your cable provider. But I believe HBO Max is the only service that actually lets you download, which is pretty cool. Do you guys? Obviously, we don't have any interest. I don't have any interest now, but do you guys have any interest in getting HBO Max as a service?
I'm thinking about it, just to kind of see what it is, like what's on it. Like, it seems like there's a good amount of stuff, and obviously we're gonna have to get it when the
Snyder Cut drops.
Yeah. So I'm curious.
It's crazy to me to think that that's the only place you're gonna see that. That can't be. There's no way they're gonna.
That's smart, right?
It's smart to a degree, I guess. You're. It's a pretty big bet, but man, I would love it if I'd wait well, obviously we're gonna have to watch it to review this, but if I were just normal Nick Scarpino still working at IGN, I'd be like, I'm gonna wait. I'll wait till 2-3 months from now when I can actually rent the thing for $5 to see what it looks like. But I don't know. I mean, I have HBO through Comcast, so I'm not clamoring to get any more of the Warner service.
There is a lot of stuff on there, a lot of content, a lot of movies. But one thing that is interesting is if now, like HBO, what is it called? The one that you can use to watch it that isn't HBO. Oh, HBO Now is going away, but HBO Now integrates with Amazon, and they've already said that HBO Max is not going to integrate with Amazon. So will people not be able to use the Amazon viewer at all to watch
that's an
HBO
issue right
content?
now.
Yeah,
that's an issue with a lot of how people are trying to get this, right? I don't think it's available through Roku. I don't think it's available through a lot of these services. At the moment, I'm sure they'll rectify this, but you're spot on. Like, one of the cool things that Amazon does is if you have an HBO subscription, it says this is free to you if you tether them together, and so you can watch any of your HBO content through Amazon. Granted, you could also just fire up your HBO Go app and do that, but Amazon at least is making some level of an attempt to keep everything on one platform, so you don't have to do what I do and bounce out to all of your apps on your PlayStation 4 to figure out what content's where. Granted, PlayStation 4 now doing a decent job showing you what's the highlights of all the stuff that you're actually using, which I think is pretty cool. And I think they could push that platform even further to be a really, truly like good video service device. But we'll see what the PS5 has in store for us.
I think it's just super confusing. Like, I don't feel like they've done a very good job of messaging of like, cool, if you have HBO Go, this is how, like, it seems very like unclear of how you go about getting this if you're already a subscriber to
feel like it's such a tricky thing where it's like you could have HBO through your cable provider, or you can have this service, and then it's like, well, I do have HBO through a cable provider, so does that mean that I can get it, and I'm looking into it right now.
Yeah, look into it, because if I mean, I would potentially consider it if it were like a $5 upgrade to my cable service right now, but I'm not going to pay $14.99 a month for an additional service that I largely would just use HBO for, because I'm looking at some of the things right here. It says, you can see everything the service offers, as well as a lot of shows and movies that you can't watch on HBO, like Friends, The Big Bang Theory, and Rick and Morty. Out of all of those, the only one I've been interested in, of course, granted it's just a small swath of what they offer, would be Rick and Morty, having already watched all seasons of Friends through when they were on Netflix, because, man, I got my money's worth on that platform. I don't know. See, me, the big draw for HBO Max is the exact reason why they're calling it HBO Max, which is HBO. And if I already have that, I'm not jumping to see any of these other shows, because I think, to me, largely those would just be similar to some of the shows I'm watching right now, which is like, how do I turn my brain off at night, and who gives a shit what I'm watching? Let's see, Brandon over on patreon.com/kindafunny, he has backed us at the bronze tier, and he actually threw this out as a topic suggestion. You can keep only one: HBO, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, or Prime Video. Gun to your head, which do you choose? I put the gun to your head part in there. Kev, which one do you choose?
Say them again.
You can keep only one: HBO, Netflix. We'll say HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, or Prime Video. Which one do you pick, and why?
I feel like Netflix is the one I use the most right now, but I fuck around with Hulu a lot. I think I'd have to go with Netflix just because it's good old reliable,
Yeah, Joe, what about you?
For the time being.
Yeah, I say the same thing. I think they have the best selection of both new original content and like historical, for lack of a better word, that I can think of right now. Hulu has like all of the current stuff, but like at least for me, the way that my like consumption trends have changed, I don't watch a ton of stuff that's currently on TV anymore. Usually it's like catching up on series once they're uploaded entirely. Like, I don't watch a ton of things week to week, so that's not as big of a pull, and they don't have as big of a selection of, they're growing their selection of movies, but that's not their like big focus. Disney Plus, I like pretty much haven't watched since like the first month of
since Mandalorian popped.
Yeah. And I didn't even finish Mandalorian. Like, there's stuff there that like I have gone back to, like, I guess since High School the Musical the series. They have a lot of
But
like good
it's
historical
all
stuff.
because I've loved it for. That's for sure.
Exactly. Do
I've
they have
watched-
14 seasons of Criminal Minds? No.
No,
So, and then Prime Video is kind of like the last one I ever look at for stuff.
I'll be honest, with Prime Video, there was a couple shows on it that I really, really like. And I thought about this long and hard. I'm like, would I be able to live without Bosch and Marvelous Miss Maisel?
Mm.
And the answer is yes. I would be able to live without both those. I love them dearly, and I think they're great shows. But there's just not that much other than the Jack Ryan show in original Prime programming that I really care about. Every once in a while, they get a nice pop. They'll do an Amazon Studios movie that's cool, like The Big Sick or some of those other movies. But I think I could leave that. Disney Plus, Joe, I'm in the same boat as you are. I don't think I've fired that app up since I finished Mandalorian, and that left such a bad taste in my mouth that I'm like, I don't care about any original Disney programming until Marvel stuff starts hitting later this year.
Yeah, I guess I was not. I've been watching. I started rewatching some Marvel stuff, but I kind of stopped doing that like a month ago.
Yeah, but to me, the thing about like I love the Marvel movies, but you know you think about it, and it's like those will be available to rent and to buy when they come out on other services. Like I don't think they'll be able to rent, but you can always get them on Comcast, probably on demand for $5. And I don't necessarily ever need to go back and watch a Marvel movie. Every once in a while, you catch one on TV, you're like, I'll watch this for 15 minutes. But you know, I don't need to do that. But I think I would say HBO if I had to keep one.
HBO is the interesting one.
Programming. Yeah. We lost Joe.
Every show it happens.
With Joey?
Yeah, she'll pop back in a second.
Okay.
There it is.
There it is.
Every time. I don't understand how this happens.
Maybe the Discord trolls don't like you.
They just hate me. Really.
I can't see your video, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, your video doesn't come in.
Let's see.
There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Every once in a while, Dee has her yearly feud with HBO, and we don't have it, and I hate not having it. To me, I just like their having the access to their original programming, and they, you know, it's one of the only services that gets those newer movies out when they come out. So that to me is pretty important. Granted, I only use, you know, you can watch all the new movies on HBO per month in about half a weekend. So you're stuck with 3 other weeks of like, okay, how many times do I want to watch What Men Want before I just got to give it to Taraji P, man. She's the shit. And then let's move on.
The fact that you watched that movie more than once is so scary.
Twice. It's a funny movie.
All right.
It's a funny movie. It's better than the Mel Gibson cut. I'll tell you that. That's a hot take right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Mel Gibson one's bad though.
Well, exactly, Kevin. It's a safe bet for me there. I said that knowing fully well that I was have full confidence in that. You know what else we have full confidence in, ladies and gentlemen? MeUndies. They've got a lot of copy here that I'll read in 1 second because it's always hilarious and always fun, and always full of coziness and snuggleness and all that stuff. But here's the real talk. We're a MeUndies household. Kevin wears MeUndies. Tim wears MeUndies. Greg wears MeUndies. Everyone loves MeUndies. Tim, if they made suits that Tim could wear to a wedding, Tim would wear a MeUndies suit because these things are soft, and we have the fullest confidence in MeUndies. Like I said, we trust one brand to wrap around our soft parts, and that's MeUndies. Summertime dreaming. These are the days when visions of sunshine and surf dance through our heads, probably more than ever, as we collectively mold into our couches. But we got to keep the dream alive. MeUndies is committed to the cause. By keeping you in a constant stream of uninterrupted, dream-inducing undie comfort. Man, that sounds good. How do you reach this uninterrupted state of comfort, you ask? With a membership from MeUndies. And man, it is handy. Imagine this. Every month, the softest, coziest undies magically appear at your door as your undie collection grows. Your laundry time lessens, and adulting gets that much easier. Plus, a membership comes with site-wide savings, early access, and free shipping. Oh, and 0 reasons to ever leave your house. Just grab those new undies off the porch and get right on back to that summertime dreamin'. MeUndies are made from micromodal and irresistibly soft, sustainable fabric that encases your nether region in a cloud of comfort. It's magically made from trees and reason to give them a wait. It's magically made from trees. Another reason to give them a hug. MeUndies are offered in a range of sizes from extra small to 4XL. MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off and free shipping. You gotta give this super softness a try, especially because they have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Here's how you take advantage of your 15% off. free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee. You go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Again, to get your 15% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. All right, everyone. Now to the part of the show that I thoroughly enjoy.
Real quick. Sorry. Yeah. I actually do have HBO Max.
Do you really?
through family member's account that nobody's activated. So I just went and logged in, and it has it looks basic, looks very much like Disney Plus, very much like Netflix. But one thing I really like is they have a just added and last chance section similar to HBO Go. And one of my favorite things is to click in last chance and see these movies that are about to go away. There's
nothing that makes you want to watch a movie more than not being able to watch it in a week.
Exactly.
I'm a sucker for that kind of marketing for sure.
Oh, they have Shutter Island. I've always wanted to watch that. Right.
Oh, you've never seen that?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Kevin, you should watch Shutter Island so we can talk about it next week.
Okay.
You should. That'll be the Patreon topic. Everyone watch.
What do you think about Shutter Island?
Scorsese movie, and let's talk about it.
Obscure.
It's one of his lesser known movies. Let's put it that way. It wasn't,
but it's good.
Kind of came and went. It is good, and it's what is it? That's one.
I just want to see Leo
and Leo, right?
Yeah.
In the period piece, that's pretty fun. Guys, it's the section of the show I like to call "What You Been Watching." Hey Joe, what you watching? Hey,
I've been watching 3 things.
Give it to
me. First thing, I want to pitch to Nick. Yes. Not because I necessarily think you're gonna like it, but I feel like it hits a Nick category of movies.
The Nick level?
Yes, of the bad movie. I watched
the wrong bad movie. Are you talking about in the middle? Because it's good, bad, good, and then bad. That's
I guess it's good, bad.
Okay.
I guess it's good, bad. I watched The Last Missy on Netflix, which is the David Spade movie.
Oh, why would you do this, Joe? That movie
because Gia and I were having. Tim was doing something. I don't remember what. Gia and I had a lovely afternoon where we watched The Wrong Missy, and we watched Lovebirds with Issa Rae and Kumail Nanjiani.
Oh, I watched that too.
I really liked it. I thought it was fun.
So here's the thing about Lovebirds. It is just this shy of good. If it had anyone else in it, if it wasn't Issa Rae and Kumail Nanjiani, it would be an abomination. It would be terrible.
Totally. They were really fun.
It's definitely one of those, we have just enough money to pay these 2 actors to be in this and nothing else. So let's make sure we like the entire movie with China balls, and let's just thread this one through the needle. And the humor for me ended up working more often than not because of the strength of the 2 actors, the 2 leads. And obviously it's a silly movie to begin with, but it's like the visuals are almost like bad Netflix original movie territory that we're in.
Like that Jennifer Aniston, Adam Sandler one.
Oh, that was terrible. Murder mystery.
Not terrible. That was so much better than you pretend it was. I hate how much you hate
I'm with Kevin. Like it's cheesy and not great, but I'm not mad that I watched it.
It wasn't like Adam Sandler acting like The Cobbler or whatever that one movie was called, or fucking.
You always bring up The Cobbler. Why do you hate The Cobbler?
Because it's a terrible movie. That's Adam Sandler at the worst acting.
I will say it's one of those movies that was one of those movies where you're like, Adam Sandler's barely trying in this, and Jennifer Aniston just needed something to get her out of the house. Whereas
but they have fun chemistry.
They were okay. The movie was okay.
I think they're fun.
I think this one, Lovebirds, is what it's called, right? The other one.
Yes.
Way more fun. It's enjoyable, and it also does the thing that I think most Netflix budget movies should do: be short. It was only 90 minutes.
That's what I would say also about The Wrong Missy. So The Wrong Missy, it's better than the trailer makes it seem. And it actually has a little bit more heart than you would expect from this kind of movie. But the thing that I thought was fun about it is that you can tell that with Lauren Lapkus, who's the main girl who I love, you can just tell that she had fun making this, of you can go batshit crazy in this movie, and that's the kind of energy we want. And because you can tell that she's having fun in this role, I think that it makes it way more enjoyable. It doesn't seem as cringy.
The thing that always kills me though is that David Spade has. I mean, I love David Spade. I'll always love David Spade from 80s and 90s, being on SNL, and of course one of my favorite movies of all time, Tommy Boy, and his relationship to Chris Farley. I think their dynamic was phenomenal. It's just recently he's definitely doing a lot of those kind of shoddy Netflix originals,
Mhm.
and I don't know if I want that experience in my life right now. But maybe I'll give it a shot. I
If
did
it's
watch
like
the
a
trailer
late
for it.
night thing.
Yeah.
The biggest suspension of disbelief is like the fact that he's pulling any of these girls,
Any
which
of
are
these
so
girls.
much younger and so
Wait,
much
sorry.
hotter.
What is the
The premise of it is
Premise,
that
thank
he
you.
meets a girl named Missy,
Mhm.
and then goes, screw it, I'm gonna invite her to this like weekend away with me, I think in Hawaii for their friend's wedding. But
Yeah, it's like a business thing or a work thing.
work thing. That's a work trip, right? But he ends up texting the wrong Missy, and then the wrong Missy shows up on the plane, and it's this
like
like
the
psycho
crazy
crazy girl, which
Oh.
just to me sounds like a relationship that I never
sucks.
want to step back into in my life. It does suck. It does suck. And then he ends up killing her, just killing her, just throwing her off a rooftop. Is that how that ends? All right, Joe,
That might have been a post-credit scene that I didn't watch.
Joe, here's what we're gonna start doing, ladies and gentlemen, because no one's asked and no one's ever wanted this, but I'm surprised we haven't done it anyway, because we're kind of funny and we do a lot of things here that Greg Miller wants to do that doesn't make any sense and that we keep going for way longer than we need to. I'm gonna start a list now of movies that we all see and rank on the Nick scale. So starting off with
Nick,
The
that's
Wrong
really
Missy.
smart. I'm proud of you
Thank
right
you.
now.
And
I like
you know,
this.
you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna actually put this on the website. So eventually, when I get around to making the URL refer to what do we think, kindoffunny.com/Scarpino scale or something like that.
Yeah.
Nick list.
What's that? Nick list. Oh, that's good. Okay,
Yeah.
the Nick list.
So here's could we also then do nominations? Like could we be like, hey, I watched, I don't know, Underwater. Everyone should watch it so we can put it on this list. I'm gonna give it a vote.
I like that.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
I like
Did you
that.
guys all watch Underwater?
No.
I really
If you
want
tell
to.
me that I need to watch Underwater, I get my new TV this weekend, and I'm
Dude.
sure it's gonna look great.
Oh, you get
All
a new
kidding
TV?
aside,
I
and
do
you
get
know
my
I
new
like to
TV this weekend.
talk shit about Kristen Stewart. This movie is really fun and really cool and really like, for nothing else, just watch it for the production design of like the suits and the underwater environments, and it's like it's got the guy in it that I forget his name. I think it's Vincent Casillas or what's his name? The guy who played the fox in Ocean's 12, who was like the breakdancing thief.
Oh yeah,
He's
I like him.
awesome
Night
in it.
Fox.
Yeah, the Night Fox. So he's phenomenal. He plays like the captain of the ship, and then Kristen Stewart, of course, is the lead with a couple other people. I was thoroughly enjoyed this movie from start to finish.
It's
is
been
a
on my list
classic.
for 3 weeks now.
Please watch it. We'll talk about it next week.
Maybe we makes the list.
And I will
Nick's
watch
list.
The Wrong Missy tonight, and then Joey next week we'll talk about. We'll figure out how to rank this scale. This on our scale. What do we? Oh, the Lovebirds. Lovebirds.
Well,
I will say
watch it.
Lovebirds. What we can do is if there's two of us that have watched it, you guys can talk amongst yourself and figure out if it's good, bad, because I trust both of you
Got it.
on the scale, and then I'll watch it again, and then if I disagree, I'll change it on the website. No one will ever know. I would say Lovebirds, Joey. Would we put that in the good bad category?
I think it's good.
I don't think it's good. I think it's
See, that's why we need Kevin. This is why we need Kevin as the tiebreaker.
Kevin, you have to watch
at least
Lovebirds.
3 of us.
Because
I'm
here's
down.
my reason why it's not good. I just don't think it did what it needed to do. I don't think it had the production values or the
I guess to be
direction
fair,
for it
most
to have
Netflix
been
movies aren't good.
What's that?
To be fair, most Netflix movies, I guess, aren't good.
Well, also most rom-coms aren't good, right? Like there's a select few movies that I would put in that category of Netflix originals that I would actually say are like good movies. But again, my favorite category is the good bad category. That's the category when I feel like at the end of the year when we get to the final rankings, you're going to see the majority of movies falling into that category.
It's true.
All right, so we'll have to watch that. I have to watch The Wrong Missy, and then you guys have to watch Underwater, and we'll rank. We'll try to rank those later. If I'm hosting next week, if Tim hosts, then we'll just pretend like this.
And we just hijack the show.
We can. I'll pop in just to see what's going on with that. Kevin, your homework is Lovebirds and Underwater.
Yeah.
And then both of which are, I think, Underwater. You might have to rent.
Underwater, I have to rent on Vudu, which we should have just bought on
rent
Vudu.
that on Vudu.
You know
Yeah, because at this point, but it's honestly, it's worth giving them the money because I thought this movie was good, and that director William Eubanks is now one of my favorite like indie.
Here's
directors.
the thing: it's $6 versus $15. So if me and Joey are both watching it, they're still making more money if we buy it.
Exactly. There you
Buy
go.
it?
Go for it.
All right.
Give it a buy. Things that I have been watching. Wait, Joe, did you finish your list of stuff you've been watching?
Oh, the last thing I watched was Blind Spotting. Finally, it's really
Oh,
fucking good.
okay.
If you're looking for different things to watch, if you're especially in this current climate to support Black stories being told, I think this is really good. If you don't know what the really, well, I'm not even gonna tell you the really early pitch. You should go watch it. It's David Diggs, it's Rafael Casal, who are both like Bay Area born and bred.
And Janina, right?
And Janina, yeah. It's really who's the guy that's in Empire Records? Ethan Embry. Yeah, he's in it too. It's really fucking good. You should go watch it.
Recently, ladies and gentlemen, I have been watching the 2-part documentary series Lance on ESPN. And I sure wish I hadn't. I'll tell you what. Coming off of the last Dance, there's 3 documentaries on 30 for 30 that they're doing on ESPN in the next 3 weeks, or rather wrapping up next week, that I'm very interested in. One, of course, was The Last Dance, which, if you haven't watched, is my all-time favorite documentary series ever made. It actually manages to beat the series they did with with the O.J. Simpson trial, which was phenomenal as well. But man, this is a great show. So I was like, oh, cool, I want more of that. Start watching Lance. Tell you what, Lance Armstrong is a psychopath. That guy has zero remorse for anything that he did, and he refuses to admit that he's wrong. And even when he says things that are irrefutable facts, it sounds like he's like, it pains him to get the words out of his mouth to admit that he did anything wrong. So you're basically watching 4 hours of this sociopath struggle through trying to convince himself that he's still relevant and that he did nothing wrong and he only had to do the things that he had to do. It's cool to see if you're interested in that story, and it's obviously a well-made documentary, but just based on the fact that Lance Armstrong comes to our house so unlikable, it was difficult for me to watch. Are you guys interested in it at all?
I am.
Yeah. Same.
I think it's really fascinating because he created a giant movement with
Livestrong.
With Livestrong, right? I mean, everyone was wearing those bands, and then afterwards, everyone made their own bands. So I could see why he wants to commit to no, hey, my story's about beating cancer, not about taking steroids.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is that when you watch this, he doesn't really come off that way. There's no angle he takes. Like what I was hoping to see, obviously, as what I would assume is a fairly well-adjusted human being, is I was hoping that he'd be like, listen, I did what everyone was doing back then. Was it right? No, but everyone was doing it, and it's what you had to do if you wanted to compete in the sport. And I'm not saying it's right, and I do think I've mistreated people, and to them I apologize. But I will not apologize for having to use EPO to compete in a sport where literally everyone that was on the Tour de France that year was probably using it. That to me is interesting. He did not say any of that. He kind of skates around that issue for 4 hours and then basically is like, I don't really do anything wrong. But you have to remember, he destroyed people's lives on the way to protecting himself, namely some journalists and some of his other fellow writers.
I did not know that.
He was vicious in protecting this lie for 10 years, and then finally admitted it. And after that, but he left a series of people in his wake who were like, fuck that guy. I don't care if he apologizes. I will never talk to him again. That's one part of the story. The other part of the story that is fascinating that I think they could have done, that I wish would have humanized him more, but again, he comes off sort of like like a lot of those higher level performers do, like a Steve Jobs, or even, I dare I say, Michael Jordan, this sort of has zero empathy level, high level performer who just doesn't give a shit about anything but winning. He comes off like that, but then you see these tender moments with him when he's with these kids who are suffering from cancer, and you're like, that can't be fake. There's no way he put that much effort into something because he was trying to cover up the fact that he was this lying piece of shit. So I do think that there is that aspect of it where I do think that it is fascinating to have a guy do so much good on one side, but then also do so much bad to protect his own ass on the other side. I just wish Lance had been a little bit more understanding of what he had done and apologetic, because I think guys like him can move forward and help the sport, right? You can say, hey, I have all this experience doing the wrong thing. Maybe I can help lead the right way. I could help lead the anti-doping initiative. Maybe I could take a role with USADA and help the future generations understand that using EPO, while granted, admittedly sounds fucking awesome and fun and potentially may have cured his cancer, is not the right way.
Wait, what?
To go. They talk about they asked him a little bit. They were like, "Do you think?" Because he had cancer, right? Testicular cancer.
That's a big part of his life.
And they asked him, "Do you think that taking human growth hormone exasperated your cancer?" And he goes, "I don't know. No one's ever done a study on that, but it's possible that the testosterone, the cortisone, all the HGH, and everything that I took leading up to my cancer had helped grow the cancer. But then afterward, he immediately started doing EPO again." And has been cancer free for the rest of his entire life. So I'm like, I wonder if EPO helps
Stops
him
cancer.
because I don't know if you know anything about EPO, but it basically is it like massively increases your red blood cells, which massively increases your immune system and like your ability to recover, basically. So a lot of these performance enhancing drugs, they don't do what the average person thinks, which is that you hit yourself up and then all of a sudden your muscles get big and you can cycle more. What they do is they help you with recovery. So when you can't walk because you've had such an intense workout, whereas a normal human being would have to take a week off, Lance Armstrong can take EPO and then immediately come back the next day and be like, I'm fucking supercharged. And then your endurance goes up from there.
Crazy.
Like
it's
sensu
fucking
beans.
insane. But that's why I want to go on it. So if we're all in on this, let's go.
Man.
We'll do a quick regimen of HGH and then go straight to EPO. How's that?
What does
sound?
EPO do to your testicles?
EPO's fine, actually. I don't think. I think
Let's
it's the
do some
HGH
EPO, man.
that gave you testicular cancer.
Yeah, sure.
If you have cancer already, I don't know. Maybe if you don't have cancer,
The studies
just make
aren't
sure-
there. The science isn't there yet.
Really, Kevin, what I want to know is what do I need to take to grow my hair out and give me 2 more inches in the height? If we can figure that one out, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
I'll
you got
get
4
on that.
hymns for your hair, but now we
The
just gotta
hair,
get
the
your
4 hymns
height.
is working. 4hymns.com/morning. Morning show. The other thing I've been watching that I've been watching religiously is I'm making my way through that 70s show, and it's getting weird. It gets weird toward the end there.
It does.
There's always a moment in every high school sitcom where they graduate, and that's always the turning point to me where I'm like, this show should have ended here. This is not. We're getting into. I'm in series, the 6th series or the 6th season rather of the series, and it's getting weird. Kelso may or may not have a kid with the girl from American Pie. Spoilers. I don't know how I feel about it, guys.
Pie.
But for me, this series hits very much in the good bad
Tara Reid?
category of the series. Shannon Elizabeth. Remember the girl who was like, "You fucked the pie in front of me," and Jason Biggs was like, "Here goes my career. Here's my career. It's gone."
That's not how that happened at all.
That's how it happened.
No,
He
she
had
was
no script.
masturbating in his room, and he like was creeping on her.
And then he was like, "I'm gonna go put my pee-pee in a pie."
Yeah. Well,
You guys are
I've
talking
been
about
watching.
a lot of things I've never watched.
I've been watching some stuff too. I
What you got,
watched
Kevin,
Space Force.
Oh, what'd you think of that?
Ooh.
I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I felt like it's a sitcom. So a lot of people I feel like are coming at it being like, "Oh, it's The Office again." It's not. It's not in the style of The Office. The comedy's different, but very good in my opinion. It's a little bit slower as a show, but it's a lot of fun throughout the whole season. I don't like the way the season ended, just because it's so like, oh, it's a cliffhanger. There's gonna be another season next year, and it's just like, can you just give me like a little ending? But yeah, the show itself is really good.
Was it funny?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I thought it was really funny. There were several points where like they're referencing old jokes, making stupid comments and jokes, and like characters that are terrible but funny to laugh at. Steve Carell, right?
Corral. Yeah.
Yeah, he is phenomenal. He's really, I feel like, come a long way as an actor from like just being, Michael.
The guy from The Office?
Yeah. There is one thing that's a little bit weird. He does like the Foxtrot voice. You guys remember that movie? I think it's called Foxtrot. It's a movie about wrestling. He was like a wrestling coach.
Fox
Hunter.
No, Fox.
Fox
Yeah,
Killer.
something like that.
Whatever.
The one where he played the DuPont. Yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of talks like this the whole time, and it's like, well, why are
Yeah.
you talking that way? He does that, but
Foxcatcher. Thank you in the chat. Missing link.
Foxcatcher, yeah.
Triple O's with Foxcatcher.
So the voice is weird, but I feel like you kind of get used to it, and it fits the character more.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. There are a couple little storylines where like they took like the family aspect and kept running with that, where it's like I kind of wish they didn't, because I like the space so much more. But I really recommended it, and I think that I believe there are 10 episodes,
Okay.
and they're like 40 minutes each. It's a good way to spend binge a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw D watching yesterday that I was like, oh, that looks like a really cool movie. And she watched it for 5 minutes and was like, do not watch this film. Is a movie called Lucy in the Sky.
Oh,
which
yeah.
stars
I just
Natalie-
saw that it's on
Yeah.
HBO.
Yeah. She was like, I can't tell you how bad that movie is.
Really?
And it's weird because
That's
it's
the one that
Natalie
Kevin and I were
Portman.
trying to see.
Yeah.
It's Natalie Portman and John Hamm, and it's based on that story of the female astronaut that drove across country in a diaper to like kill him and his lover or whatever it was. I assume the main character that wears the diaper eventually is Natalie Portman. But
Yeah.
I watched about 2 seconds of this movie, and the director, for whatever reason, decided to change the aspect ratio basically from every shot to shot. So I was like, oh, this is weird. Why are you watching it in standard def? Because it was in 4:3. And then the next scene, the 4:3 border just slowly turned into like a ultra wide Panavision like border where it was like not even 2:1, whatever's more wide than that.
Yeah.
And then that slowly opened up to a 16:9. And I was like, that is very distracting. I don't know why.
That
Like,
sounds
as a
like
visual
not fun experience.
Why would you use that as a device to tell your story? But I am not a
do feel
Hollywood
like-
director. I'm a schmo on the internet.
I do feel like that would look really cool on my TV, so I might watch it just for that.
But it's not subtle. It definitely makes you want to know that, hey, you're switching aspect ratios and it's very slow. It's like probably a 30 frame transition in between all of them, which is a lot. But give it a shot if you like. But I think that's going to go squarely into my bad category based on the 5 seconds that I watched on it. The last thing I wanted to recommend for everyone, I haven't finished it yet, but I watched the first like 20 minutes of Jesus Trejo's Stay-at-Home Son comedy special on Showtime. Jesus is a guy that he's an up-and-coming comic. He's been around the scene for a while, but he's now starting to break. I saw him down at the Ice House with Tim Gettys. When we went down there, we were kicking around there, I think, to do some of those Disney commercials. And we went to the Ice House to see a show, and he blew me away. So I can't recommend his comedy enough. I think he's freaking hilarious. And if you're a fan of Joe Rogan, he's on the podcast this week to pimp Stay-at-Home Son as well. Very, very funny guy. Check it out over on Showtime. And of course, if you guys are keeping up with us on In Review, your homework this week is to finish Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring extended cut. I did last night, and fuck, there's no way that's not going number one. You know what I mean? Come on, son.
You think it stays number one though?
Bro, 3 words. You shall not pass. 4 words.
God,
4 words.
so
You shall
good.
not pass.
Yeah, but Return of the King is fucking great too. Remember when he's like when
When
she
he brings the Ghost Squad back, it's gonna be cool. No future spoilers. Also, shout out to Kevin Costner for making Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, which I tried to watch twice yesterday, and was like both times I'm like, nope, don't ever need to watch this movie again. And why did they make both Christian Slater and and what's his name do the English accents? And why do they only do it for half the film? Who the hell knows? It's very weird.
Your lack of commitment is so like. Why would you try to watch it a second time if you were like, no?
You know what it did? It did the thing where I started watching it a little bit while I was eating dinner, and it was on BBC America. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's on BBC. And I was like, okay, Kevin Costner, it's so cute. He's trying to do this English accent. Then he stops, then he starts, whatever. Then I go away and I watch Lord of the Rings for another hour because I finished the last hour of it. I come back, it started again. And I'm like, oh, it just started. That's the TV's way of saying, guess what? We've decided what you're going to watch for the rest of the night. And I watched the first 20 minutes. I was like, I can't watch this movie. The only good part of that movie, there's 2 good parts of that movie. One, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio is fucking phenomenal, and I had a huge crush on her back in the day. Ever since The Abyss, she's amazing. And 2, freaking Alan Rickman is awesome as a chef.
So good.
But other than that, it's it's a movie. They made a movie. Speaking of making movies, Nick Way, we asked 2 weeks ago what you all thought of the up-and-coming release on the Snyder Cut. And a lot of you who went over to patreon.com/kindoffunny and backed us at the fan mail tier, at the bronze tier, have responded. Just like Mitch Krassen said, the Justice League is a cool experiment. I don't think it would be a great start seeing tons of movies start going for this treatment, but I can't think of another movie that has gotten a remake treatment like this. Kind of cool. Instead of the Snyder Cut, HBO should just give the Russo brothers $300 million to recut the whole DCEU and put that on HBO Max, says Brock Ripion.
That would be really, really cool.
It says they'll bring in new subscribers by swarms for sure. That's 100%.
That would be wild.
Just give them $300 million, but like, listen, you have this footage. You can reshoot whatever you want, but start with Man of Steel and make these movies work. That would be unbelievable. And let's see. This one's a longer one. but I'll read it anyway. This comes from Grant Burton. Says, I'm okay with the Snyder Cut and all, but I think we can all agree that what the world really needs is cat's butthole cut. That's what he said.
Oh, right. People
then he
really
said,
wanted
really,
that.
Yeah. Then he said, really though.
So the movie Cats, Joey has a bunch of cats, right? In it.
No. I understand the concept. I don't know why anybody who wants that cut.
People like looking at buttholes.
I love
cat buttholes
because they're hilarious.
Yeah, but they're not like they're cat human
but you
buttholes.
can't blow in a movie.
He says,
just
really
say
though, I don't
blow
have
on
any issues with Zach getting to try again and make that movie the way he really wanted. I just think the money may be better spent making some new high budget DC content for HBO Max instead. I agree. DC has found a lot of success with their TV series, especially CW ones, and I think some well produced HBO level DC shows could be just like how Marvel with their Disney Plus shows coming soon, says Matt Bowers. I'm sorry, that wasn't Grant Burton, that was Matt Bowers. I agree. I think if you took that money, if you took $30 million and gave it to a strong production team and said make a show like Watchmen, I would, and that's based in the DC world, I would 100% be in on that. I'd be way more excited about that than I am about seeing this abomination.
Yeah, but I feel like you can't make someone make a show like Watchmen. Like they have to love Watchmen and be like, I need to finish this story. God, Watchmen is so good.
So good. And finally, Grant Burton did say, while I'm interested in seeing the Snyder Cut, mostly out of sheer curiosity, I think it's a bad idea. The precedent it sets could mean any film that undergoes behind-the-scenes changes or that simply isn't very good could get similar movements around it. It has the potential of starting very vocal and toxic fan communities, and studios and filmmakers could be put in tough situations. Maybe that's a harsh, cynical view, though. On a more personal level, as someone who lives in the UK, which isn't getting HBO Max right now, I'm more curious as to how the film will be released outside of the US. It will probably end up on Sky, but a cinematic release is possible too. Either way, I can see non-US fans potentially having to pay a lot of money to see it, or having to use VPN and internet trickery. If this happens, it will be quite annoying, says Grant Burton, and I agree. But I'd rather pay $5 for it and watch it, and then not have to ever think about HBO Max again. Until
I don't know, man. It seems like it's got a lot of cool stuff on here. I'm very excited to play around with it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's your episode of Screencast. Remember, if anything we said here was wrong, please put that in the comments below, and Kevin will dutifully go through and put a little smiley face by it or a little frowny face by it if he thinks you're dumb. Also,
spoilers: Kevin's gonna put only frowny faces on it.
No, I like to call them dum-dums. Do we have a topic for next week?
We do have a topic for next week. I was going to actually make that topic HBO Max. You getting it? If so, why? Be specific.
Also, if you want to nominate things for the Nick list, maybe you should start submitting those too.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Should we do that instead? What do you think, Joe?
I do.
Let's make either of those topics. How about this? HBO Max. What do you think, Kev?
Well, actually, if we do a nomination, we can do I say we do like nominations once a month, and then we pick a couple from it and make that our goal to watch.
That's a good call.
Yeah,
let's do it next. Let's start next week, actually, guys. Fuck HBO Max. Don't worry about HBO Max. Give me some of your nominations for the Nick list. Movies we haven't talked about, movies you love, or movies you think might make it into the good category on my list. Go over to patreon.com/kindafunny. Back is at the $5 or above tier. And you guys can submit ideas for us to watch movies, and you can watch along with us and tell us if we're crazy. Of course, our homework for next week is The Wrong Missy, Lovebirds, and Underwater. Those are the first 3 movies we're going to be ranking on the Nick list, and we'll see where those hit. I can't wait for you guys to watch Underwater, because honestly, right now in my brain, it's on the cusp of good, and good, bad. But I think it might be.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to watch it. I've been waiting.
I'm going to be bringing nominations for the Nick list next week too.
I'm going to say this too. This might be the only movie that Kristen Stewart makes on my list. That's good. What did you say, Joe?
American Ultra's fucking phenomenal.
I'm gonna bring nominations for this list too.
All right, perfect, everyone. Next week we'll look into the Nick list as one of our topics and whatever other movie news pops up. Joey, Kevin, thank you guys so much for joining me. I've been your host, Nick Scarpino. If you're listening to this on podcast services, good for you. How does this sound? Oh yeah.
No, stop. Why?
Right. I got you going in your car right there. Watch out. There's cops everywhere. Be safe out there, everyone. Until next week, we'll see you on the internet.